Recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and appreciate you being here, Mr. Secretary. Who is responsible to deliver the IT products on time?
Who is responsible? Well, the Census Bureau is responsible. Then they have a whole series of contracting parties. If you count them all up, they're probably 100 individual entities.
But at the end of the day, somebody's got to be responsible that the product is delivered.
Well, ultimately, me at Commerce and Karen Dunn Kelly as the oversight of Census.
So why are the IT products not delivered on time? What is the holdup? For the delivery of the modernization IT products, why here we're going to end and we don't have what we need?
Well, I think the original estimates as to how long it would take and how much it would cost to get to those products were flawed. So some of it may be contractor not performing as well. I can't judge what went on prior to the present, but I think it's a combination of over-optimism on the part of Census and maybe some errors on the part of the contractor.
So is there any accountability, is there any penalty for not delivering on time what was promised to be delivered?
Well, each contract is different, but when you're on a time and materials contract, the concept of penalty doesn't really work very well.
So we're just going to have ambitious, we hope to deliver, but we won't deliver, and there's no accountability.
There's not as much accountability as there would have been if there were fixed price, fixed time contracts, but that's not the situation that we're faced with.
So when can we possibly even guess under these circumstances that we'll receive what we have?
Well, we've given more than what we think is a guess. We've done lots of work out in the field. We've done lots of analysis of what's been done thus far, lots of analysis of the contracts, and we believe that this budget, phased in the way that we have proposed, will deliver the product that we need.
Well, I don't share your optimism. I don't see how in the world you can either with the type of situation we're dealing with. And then you look at cybersecurity. How confident are you that this information gathered with an IT that hasn't even been tested is going to be secure?
Well, in today's world, you can't be sure of anything in terms of cybersecurity, but I can assure you the systems we're putting in are far more robust than anything that has ever been done before in Census.
Well, I know last year the CIO for Bureau made a similar statement, said he had great confidence that the cybersecurity was intact, and yet the system hadn't even been tested. How in the world can you have that kind of confidence on something we know nothing about?
Well, first of all, I didn't say I have confidence that it's impenetrable. What I said is it's a lot more robust than had been true in 2010.
How do you know that, is my question?
Because of discussions with the people who are doing the implementation of it. But having said that, I'm not aware that there's any system that's flawless.
Sir, so you are giving great confidence to us about the cybersecurity based on conversation.
No.
Conversation is not enough to give us the assurance that this information is protected.
What I'm telling you, sir, is that the systems themselves will be far more robust than anything Census has used before.
And yet we've not seen those systems.
Well, no, because they're works in progress.
So it's all based on conversation, not on tests. This is all part of the problem. We get promises that are never delivered on, and now we have cybersecurity promises, commitments, the most robust thing we've ever seen before, but it's simply based on conversation, not on tests. It looks to me like we're going to go back to the same thing that happened in 2010 when we were promised all kinds of modernization, but it was a faulty IT program, so we end up a paper-based census. I don't see how we can proceed with this any further without going back to paper-based and just be honest with what we're dealing with.
Well, it's impossible to test something that doesn't yet exist.
My point precisely.
80% of the spending will be post-2018. But let me describe to you what it is that we are doing. All of the data on the census systems are being protected. We're applying some rigorous security protocols to the perimeter of the Census' own network. Census has an existing network. So we're applying rigorous protocols to that. We're putting in routers and firewalls. We also have our own detection, intrusion, and prevention systems in place at Census. Census Bureau now has an unprecedented level of engagement with the best resources elsewhere in the federal government. We're working closely with cybersecurity experts across the department, including NIST, which is part of Commerce, the Federal CIO's Office, the Department of Homeland Security, and the intelligence and law enforcement communities. We're also putting a new level of cybersecurity federal management in place for the 2020 census over and above what was done in 2010.
Mr. Secretary, all due respect, our time is gone. I know we want to respect the time. I appreciate your answers, but they just sound like talking points to me with not much beyond that. I yield back.
You can't test something that isn't in place.
All right. The gentleman yields back. The chair will